I'm starting to think that with Damien Chazelle, failure is not an option. First Man is a biopic of Neil Armstrong, the first human to step foot on the moon, and he is played here by Ryan Gosling. I had been looking forward to this movie all year since I first learned about it. First, because I'm a real space nerd, and second, because behind it is director Damien Chazelle, who did Whiplash and La La Land, and writer Josh Singer, who wrote Spotlight, all superb films. So this movie seemed set to be an Oscar-worthy historical drama, and it certainly is. This is an engrossing film that depicts the life of Neil Armstrong with a richly personal focus. Chazelle's direction is indelible. Ryan Gosling's performance is authentically emotional, and never to an hyperbolized extent, and the film is visually captivating. If you're expecting something like an adrenaline-fueled race against time, that's definitely not what you're going to get, because this movie isn't so much about the space race of the 1960s as it is about Armstrong himself. The whole situation between the United States and Russia is barely more than glanced over. The camera stays with Armstrong 90% of the time, with about another 8% paying attention to his wife, played by Claire Foy, as she grows more and more concerned about the unprecedented danger that her husband is facing. Once Apollo 11 takes off, it never cuts away to anything on Earth. It puts you in Armstrong's shoes from then on, with constant POV shots inside the capsule. The result is the most absorbing film that takes place in space since Gravity. And those POV shots in space lead to a few moments of pitch-black darkness, until a sliver of light slowly appears, of which you can't quite make out the source. On 2 occasions, that image made my hair stand up. And when the moon landing comes, every single shot of the moon and the surrounding black star-filled sky is amazingly photorealistic. I don't know how they accomplished it, but the outcome is stellar, no pun intended. And the score by Justin Hurwitz never gets fast-paced or booming. For the majority of the time, it's very low-key. Even during the moon landing sequence, the music stays tranquil to allow the grandiose visuals to speak for themselves. And sometimes the music will have this mildly spooky tone that evokes an otherworldly feeling. It's often heard during the airborne sequences, and it really fits. When the credits started rolling, there were a couple of guys behind me who said that this movie was too slow-moving. And to an extent, I can understand why that might keep someone from enjoying it. In fact, I'll agree that the 2-hour and 20-minute runtime does occasionally feel a little excessive. But at the same time, I have a hard time comprehending the idea of not getting swept up into the experience, especially the last third. Now I should address the elephant in the room. Early reports said that this movie excludes the famous planting of the American flag in the surface of the moon. This has resulted in a lot of premature negativity toward the movie, with Florida Senator Marco Rubio calling it a disservice to the country. On one hand, I can understand why some people have made that presumption, especially with all the anti-American protests going on today, but still, as with any movie, it's important to reserve criticism until seeing the movie in its entirety. Having seen First Man for myself now, I have to say that the controversy was completely uncalled for. I should clarify that the American flag is seen on the moon, we just don't see the big moment where it gets planted. So the movie never denies that the moon landing was an American victory, it's just simply not what the main focus is. Like I said, the movie is more about Armstrong himself than the actual mission, so during the moon landing sequence, the focus is on what he was feeling and thinking about his family and about how far mankind has come as of the moment he was living. Admittedly, it is a little odd that they don't include the planting of the flag, while earlier in the movie there's a scene where one of Armstrong's sons raises an American flag in front of their house. Still, if that controversy has rubbed you the wrong way, I highly recommend that you don't let it throw you off, because if you do, you'll be missing out on one of the most immersive and riveting theatrical experiences this year. I would still say La La Land is Damien Chazelle's best film, but for such a young director, he is on a roll. I'm going to give First Man an 84%. And I absolutely recommend seeing it in IMAX, the format that it was made for. I would see it at an IMAX theater myself, but I would have to shoot through numerous layers of outer space to get there. That's a wrap. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this review helpful. Like if you liked, subscribe for more. This is Pop Culture. I'm Alex Pop.